These are the 5 things that we look for when we're hiring a physical therapist. Number 1 is that they have an interest and they have a competency in manual therapy, a willingness to perform manual therapy. So what is manual therapy? I'm not talking about a certification or anything like that. We focus specifically on HVLAT, a willingness to do that, and also grade 5 mobilizations. If you can do those 2 things and you've demonstrated some competency in that, then it's very, very easy to fill everything else in. So that's the high end. We find about 10% of all physical therapists that we interview are willing to do that, and that's very similar to what we see on a national level with regards to surveys. The second thing that we look for is somebody who's a big dreamer. So, do you have something written down? Quick test. Do you have something written down that says, yes, this is where I want to be in 1 year. This is where I want to be in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. This is what I want to do with my career. Really what we're looking for are people that want to take on more responsibility and more leadership roles. So they want to be a clinic director. They don't just want to be a staff physical therapist. They also want to be a team leader, and then they want to be a clinical director. And then in a few cases, we find people who sincerely want to own their own practice. And we have pathways where we can help our physical therapists do that as well. But they have a big dream and they have it written down and they're actively working towards that. Number 3 is that they're a people person. They're social, they communicate, they're involved in the community. Every year we have this event where we, specifically for our clinic, we put the treadmill of our clinic on the roof of the building and we run for 24 hours to raise money for abused children. In the last 7 years, we've raised over $250,000 to benefit abused children here in central Pennsylvania that we later grant out to communities that work directly with abused children. It's something that's very near and dear to my heart, and I have a personal connection there. We'll save that story for another day, but that's what we're looking for. So a lot of our staff, they're involved in Tough Mudder teams, or Tough Mudder races. They do 5K events. They do other community events. They're involved in the community. They're just not going to work and then going home and then living in their isolated little hermit life. They're actually involved. They like people. So that's very important that they're personal and sociable. Number 4 is that they have good study and work ethic. Many times, at least in our clinic right now, our therapists are, they're bringing forth JOSPT articles, JMMT articles in Physical Therapy Journal about how we can improve our processes. It doesn't originate with me and then it doesn't filter down. They're bringing it to the table. We even have one therapist who works for us 1 day a week who's a faculty member at the local college, the local university, who teaches in the physical therapy curriculum, and he publishes a lot of work. Last fall he was published 4 times in 2 months. So we have staff right now that's very involved because they have good study ethic. So we're looking for you to demonstrate that. So, quick question there is, in the past year, have you read a book outside of a physical therapy journal, or read something outside of a physical therapy journal that you directly implemented in your life? Might be, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It might be, another book on selling or something like that you've applied to what you're doing as a physical therapist. So we're not just looking for, that tunnel vision physical therapist who is only learning what they're fed. Many times when I'm sitting with especially a new grad, they're really sitting down and saying, what's in it for me? And they're asking, how am I going to feed them? And really what I'm saying as an employer who has developed a little bit of wisdom along the way is, how are you going to feed our group? What are you going to do? What are you going to bring to the table versus the other way around? So it's something to think about, and if you do bring something to the table, fantastic, and that's the type of physical therapist that we want to talk with. The other thing that we look for is work ethic, and if there is you can demonstrate something in your history that you're willing to do what it takes to ethically produce a result. So, for example, like if you've ever run a small business, or you worked as you were going through college, or maybe in your physical therapy career you did something outside of what you're doing, your 40-hour job work week. Where our staff works really, really hard 40 hours a week. We have one or two clinicians who will, they're amazing, amazing producers, and they'll stay 3 extra hours a week to just finish up chart work as well. And we just surround them with as much support staff as we can, whether it be PTAs or aides, excellent reception work, excellent finance staff who can help and support them, so they don't have to answer phone calls and do other things. They can focus their time with the patient. They have great work ethics, so they'll spend an extra 3 hours a week, maybe an hour a day, 3 days a week, doing charts and making sure that that's done. And number 5, the thing that we look for is a production winner, and that is, I touched on this earlier, but it's the person that is willing to do anything that is ethically right to win. So we have a very high productive practice where we see over 500 visits in a week. We help a lot of people. We're running, right now we have about 30 staff in a brand new space, brand new facility, and but that takes a lot to make happen. And the therapist who says, I only want to see one patient every other hour, we really can't help that. We can't work with that therapist, because the production level is as such that they're not going to be able to meet the demand for the services that we have presently. So we want somebody that likes to play games, likes to have fun, is production oriented, and also by production I mean an insistence on the patient in front of them gets better. They're willing to do whatever it takes to help the patient get better, as long as it is ethical and reasonable. So those are the 5 things we're looking for. Right now we have 2 openings for physical therapists here at Madden Physical Therapy in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We have a fantastic staff thus far, and we're growing. We just added another 2,600 square feet, and we're looking to fill that space. So that's where we're at. If you are looking for the right opportunity that's extremely rewarding, both financially and all the other components that I can legally talk about, you can email me at chad.madden@maddenpt.com, or Joe Ribick is our clinical director, and that's joe.hribick@maddenpt.com.